If you have less than $10,000 in your bank account right now, you are statistically living in a biological danger zone that is actively rewiring your brain to fail. You might think that is an exaggeration. You might think, I'm doing okay, I pay my bills. But the data shows that without this specific financial buffer, your cognitive function drops, your stress hormones spike, and your ability to make long-term decisions is chemically blocked. We are obsessed with the millionaire status in this culture. We look at the seven-figure net worth as the finish line. But I'm going to tell you something that most financial gurus gloss over because it isn't sexy enough for a magazine cover. The gap between $0 and $10,000 is infinitely wider than the gap between $10,000 and $1 million. When you have zero, you are drowning. When you have 10,000, you are standing on solid ground. The difference isn't just a number, it is a fundamental shift in the physics of your life. It is the difference between being a slave to your circumstances and being the master of your options. Once you cross this invisible line, the colors of the world actually look different. Your boss's voice sounds different. The mailman delivering bills looks different. My name is John, this is the Penny Plan, and today I'm going to break down the science, the math, and the raw psychology of why absolutely nothing feels the same after you save your first $10,000. I'm going to show you how this specific amount of money acts as a force field against the chaos of the world, and why getting here is the single most important thing you will ever do. To understand the euphoria of having $10,000, we first have to brutalize ourselves with the reality of having zero. We have to look the enemy in the eye. The enemy is a force I call the gravity of zero. When you have no savings, you are living in a state of fragility that is expensive. Being poor is incredibly expensive. This is known as the Boots theory of economics, but let's apply it to modern life. Because you don't have a buffer, you can't pay for car maintenance. So instead of a $50 oil change, your engine seizes and you have a $3,000 repair. Because you don't have the cash for the repair, you put it on a credit card at 25% interest. Now that $3,000 repair costs you $6,000 over time. The system is designed to punish people with zero capital. You pay overdraft fees because your timing was off by 1 day. You pay late fees because your paycheck didn't clear fast enough. You pay higher insurance premiums because your credit score is lower because of your utilization rate. You are bleeding out from 1,000 tiny cuts that wealthy people never even feel. But the financial cost pales in comparison to the biological cost. When you are living paycheck to paycheck, your body is flooded with cortisol, the stress hormone. You are in a permanent state of fight or flight. When your brain is in this mode, it shuts down the prefrontal cortex, the part responsible for planning, logic, and delayed gratification. This is why it feels impossible to save when you are broke. It's not just that you don't have the money, it's that your brain is screaming at you to survive today. It forces you to make short-term, reactive decisions. You buy the fast food because you are exhausted. You buy the lottery ticket because you need hope. You are trapped in a loop where your lack of money causes stress, and your stress causes you to lose more money. This is the trap. The world wants you here. Employers want you here because if you are terrified of missing a paycheck, you will never ask for a raise and you will never quit. Banks want you here because they make billions off your fees. The entire economy is structured to keep you at zero, desperate and compliant. Breaking out of this gravity well requires an escape velocity that is painful to generate, but once you break orbit, the weight lifts off your chest instantly. So, what happens when you finally scrape, claw, and hustle your way to that magical 5-figure number? What happens when you open your banking app and see $10,000 sitting there? The first thing that happens is silence. The background noise of anxiety that has been humming in your ears for your entire adult life suddenly shuts off. Shift number 1, the death of Murphy's Law. You know the rule, anything that can go wrong will go wrong. When you are broke, Murphy's Law is a threat to your existence. A flat tire is a tragedy. A cavity is a crisis. A broken laptop is a career ender. When you have $10,000, Murphy's Law becomes an inconvenience. Your car breaks down? Okay, you swipe your debit card, fix it, and drive to work. You don't lose sleep. You don't call your mom crying. You don't panic. You just solve the problem. This shifts your identity. You stop seeing yourself as a victim of bad luck and start seeing yourself as a problem solver. You realize that 90% of tragedies in modern life are just expenses. And when you have the money to pay the expense, the tragedy evaporates. You become bulletproof to the minor chaos of the world. Shift number 2, the ability to say no. This is the most intoxicating drug in the world. When you have $0, you have to say yes. You have to say yes to the overtime shift you hate. You have to say yes to the boss who disrespects you. You have to say yes to the toxic living situation because you can't afford a security deposit on a new place. $10,000 is walking away money. It isn't retire forever money, but it is enough to say, I quit. If your boss screams at you, you know deep in your soul that you can walk out the door and survive for 3 or 4 months while you find a better job. You might not actually quit, but the knowledge that you can quit changes your energy. You walk taller. You speak more clearly. You don't reek of desperation. And ironically, when you are not desperate, people respect you more. You get promoted. You get better offers. The simple ability to say no makes you more valuable to the world. The first shift number 3, you stop paying the poor tax. This is where the math starts working for you instead of against you. With $10,000, you can start playing the game of efficiency. You can pay your car insurance in a 6-month lump sum instead of monthly, saving 10%. You can buy household goods in bulk when they are on sale, lowering your cost of living. You never pay a late fee. You never pay an overdraft fee. You never pay credit card interest because you pay the balance in full every month. Suddenly, life gets cheaper. It costs money to save money. When you have the capital to buy efficiency, your burn rate goes down, which allows you to save the next $10,000 twice as fast. You have flipped the switch from a vicious cycle to a virtuous cycle. Now, I know what you're thinking. John, this sounds amazing, but I'm stuck at 0. How do I actually get to 10,000? You don't get there by accident. You get there by declaring war on your current lifestyle. Step 1, the scorched earth audit. You need to print out your last 3 months of bank statements, get a red pen, circle every single transaction that was not necessary for your physical survival. I'm talking about Netflix. I'm talking about the gym membership you don't use. I'm talking about the $4 coffees. I'm talking about the Friday night drinks. You have to get angry at these expenses. Every dollar you spend on convenience is a brick you are taking out of your freedom wall. For the next 6 months, you are on a financial fast. You cook at home. You drink water. You walk in the park for entertainment. It sucks. I know it sucks. But you are buying your freedom. You are suffering now so you never have to suffer again. Step 2, liquidation. Look around your house. The average American has about $2,000 worth of junk sitting in their closets and garages. Clothes you don't wear, electronics you don't use, furniture you don't need. Sell it all. Facebook Marketplace, eBay, Poshmark. Turn that physical clutter into liquid cash. This does 2 things. It jumpstarts your fund, and it physically clears your space, which helps clear your mind. You are signaling to yourself that you value freedom more than stuff. Step 3, the gap income. You cannot save your way to $10,000 if you are making minimum wage and living in a high-cost city. The math doesn't work. You need a shovel. You need a side hustle, but not just any side hustle. Do not drive for Uber. The wear and tear on your car destroys your profit. You need a service-based hustle with 0 overhead. Walk dogs, clean houses, power wash driveways, mow lawns. This isn't your career. This is a temporary mission. If you can make an extra $500 a week working evenings and weekends, that is $2,000 a month. If you bank every penny of that, you hit $10,000 in 5 months. Can you sacrifice your weekends for 5 months to change the trajectory of your entire life? If the answer is no, you don't want it bad enough. Step 4, The Fortress account. You need to open a brand new high-yield savings account at a bank different from your checking account. Do not get a debit card for it. Do not download the app on your phone. You want to add friction. You want it to be annoying to get that money. Every time you get paid, you transfer the money to the Fortress, and then you forget it exists. If you see it every day, you will spend it. You will rationalize that you need a new TV. Hide the money from yourself. Step 5. The psychological reframe. This is the most important step. You have to stop looking at savings as deprivation and start looking at it as buying power. When you don't buy the shoes, you aren't depriving yourself. You are buying 3 days of freedom. When you don't go to the bar, you aren't missing out. You are buying a piece of your dignity back. Every $100 you save is a soldier in your army. When you hit $1,000, you have a platoon. When you hit $10,000, you have a division. You are the general. Your job is to recruit soldiers, not kill them on frivolous purchases. Now here is the twist. Here is the trap that catches 90% of people who actually manage to save $10,000. The moment you hit that number, you are going to feel rich. Relative to where you started, you are rich. The pressure is gone, the anxiety is gone, and your brain, starved of dopamine for months, is going to scream at you. We made it! Let's celebrate! You deserve a vacation. You deserve a down payment on a new car. You deserve to treat yourself. This is the siren song of mediocrity. If you listen to this voice, you will kill the momentum you just spent months building. I call this the false summit. You climb the mountain, you reach a plateau, and you think you are at the top. So you set up camp and start eating your rations. But you were just at base camp. The real mountain is still ahead of you. If you spend your $10,000, you don't just lose the money, you lose the psychological armor. You go back to being fragile. You go back to being one flat tire away from disaster. You go back to the cortisol and the stress. The $10,000 is not spending money. It is infrastructure. It is the foundation of your financial skyscraper. You do not rip out the foundation of a building to buy a couch. That money is permanent. It is your new zero. From this day forward, if your bank account drops to $9,000, you treat it like an emergency. You panic, you hustle, you get it back to 10. You have to trick your brain into believing that $10,000 is the new $0. The moment reaching $10,000 changes everything because it changes you. It proves to you that you are capable of controlling your impulses. It proves that you can delay gratification. It proves that you are not a victim of the economy, but an active participant in it. Once you have that buffer, you stop looking down at your feet, trying not to trip, and you start looking up at the horizon. You start thinking about investing. You start thinking about business. You start thinking about the future, not just the present. You stop being a survivor, and you start being a builder. That shift in perspective is worth more than the money itself. If you are on this journey, if you are grinding toward that first 10,000, do not stop. The peace of mind waiting for you on the other side is better than any luxury item you can buy. Keep building, keep saving, and never let your guard down. If this video helped you see the path, hit that subscribe button and like the video. I'll see you in the next one. Reaching